doing great. This is one of the best groups of guys I've ever traveled with. Every single one of them is extremely spectacular, and they're all out on dates as we speak right now. I was just down in the hotel lobby. There's nobody there. They're all out with these really great ladies. So two fantastic socials, two very different cities. Each one has a personality of its own, I know you know, but lots of very, very beautiful women came out, and the guys just have more going on than they know what to do with, but they're all really, really happy.
Great. So let's talk some numbers here. So at the Key Social, how many women do you think attended that?
Boy, I got to tell you what, I don't know what the official count is, but in November we had 311 women, and there was a little bit of room to walk around in the club. When we did the social on Friday night, this club was completely packed. You could barely move in the place because there were so many women. It was impossible to move through the crowd without getting extremely close to a lot of these women. But it was cool. Everybody was fine. Plenty of champagne going on, and everyone was comfortable. But it was packed. It was completely packed. You could barely move. There were just so many women in the place. It was incredible. A lot of the guys told me how, they would talk to one girl, and yet looking over the girl's shoulder behind her, there would be other women looking right at them, lots of eye contact, for as long as they wanted, obviously just kind of waiting for their opportunity to meet the guys. So, and then here in Kharkov, again, just another incredibly spectacular social. I got maybe 20 guys, and there had to be at least 250 women that were there, and it was just unbelievable.
So let's talk a little bit about the women that are there as well. When those women come to our socials, first of all, they're coming because they were invited, because they've joined a foreign affair and they've been invited. And then when they come, they're screened and they're registered in this whole process. Even before they get on the site, they go through a screening process. So these aren't just women that happen to walk by the venue and came in from off the street. Let's make that clear.
Yeah, that's amazing. But honestly,
right. And another really, really nice thing I think that we don't talk about enough is the fact that these office managers and our staff there know these women very well. They have worked with these women, the vast majority of women that are coming to our socials, and have a very good idea of who they are and what they really want out of a man. And so they can share that with the men and make recommendations for the men in their matchmaking capacity. And I imagine you see that all the time, not just at the socials, but during the hospitality room where the men are going in for assistance in finding the dates and finding the women that they feel are going to be a good match for themselves.
Oh yeah, quite frequently, the men, they have their lists, right? They've all spent some time just developing a list of profiles of ladies who they think they're compatible with, and our staff will definitely work those lists. But in each of these cities and everywhere we go, all around the world, and certainly here in Ukraine, the women who work for us, our staffers, they know a lot of these women who have come to them, who have asked them for help in finding a life mate. Maybe they've, received a letter or two, and maybe they've even gone out on a date or two. But I hear the staff all the time talking to the guys saying, yeah, absolutely, she's great. She's definitely sincere. She's very interested in a relationship. She's not playing any games at all. You'll like her. She's a very nice, very sincere girl. And you can tell there's a lot of depth in that war room with the staff, and they quite frequently, will recommend girls that they feel are just right for these guys. So these guys, this particular group, I've hardly seen them the whole entire tour because their dates are just all day and all night long.
So let's hear some stories, bud. I want to hear some stories. Tell me about, any nice little relationships that are blossoming. I think you mentioned something about how someone, a woman was really waiting to meet one of our guys at the social, but he was so busy with the other women. Tell us that story.
Yeah, it's such a great story because you have Matt. Matt is a very gregarious guy. He's adorable. He's a lot of fun. He looks incredibly friendly and approachable, and a lot of the women wanted to meet him. So he walked into the social. He was buried in women, and yet there was this lovely Tatiana. It was her first social. I mentioned that she's a neuro surgeon, so she's quite an amazing, sophisticated, intelligent woman, obviously, and she was just kind of watching all the girls approaching Matt. And she was there with one of our great affiliate partners whose name is Yelena. And she told her affiliate partner, look, if you can help me out, as soon as he breaks away from these girls, just let him know I want to meet him. So they just stood next to Matt and waited until he stepped away for 1 second. And then they grabbed him and said, here, come meet this girl. And as soon as Tatiana and Matt met, it was like something in the movies. You could tell. I mean, sparks were flying immediately. They liked each other. He was gushing with a big smile. And, she said, I'm staying with you for the rest of the night, and you're not going anywhere, and I'm not going to let you leave and meet any other women. And they went out for a date that lasted for 6 hours after the social, and I saw them. They were cuddling. They were kissing. Very, very cute. I interviewed them. You're going to hear their story. There's another gentleman named Kevin on the tour, and he went to the social in Kiev. He was very nervous. His first social ever. 5 minutes into the social, he met this beautiful blonde woman, and they sat in a little corner, hidden from everybody, but I saw them, and they sat and they talked all night long. They've been out on a bunch of dates. I was just in the elevator with him, and he showed me these beautiful silver earrings that he bought for her. He said he spent $300 on them, but they clearly like each other. And I'm absolutely amazed that both of those couples are going to go on and get engaged. And that's just a couple of the really cool stories that are kind of going on around us.
Yeah, you got all kinds of things happening there during these socials. It's just an amazing time. And I know they keep you busy. But talk a little bit more about the hospitality room, too, and the staff, because they do such a tremendous job on all these tours. Because it's not just about the socials, and the socials are great. Like you said, there was close to 300 women at each social, give or take. And I don't know, somewhere around, 25, 30 guys, somewhere in that neighborhood. So the ratios are absolutely amazing for the men, which is wonderful. But then the fact that these women are all registered, have all been vetted, have been screened, are there. We know exactly who's there, and the staff knows quite a bit about a lot of the women that are there, and that helps so much for the men. But then you have the hospitality room, and there's so much work that gets done there to assist these guys in their dates. So how's the staff holding up there? Because sometimes those rooms can get really, really crazy.
Yeah, something you just said reminded me of the old commercial about the Maytag repairman. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Sitting around with nothing to do because Maytag machines are so reliable. That's kind of how our war room staff has been on this tour, because the guys actually got tremendous productivity out of the socials. A lot of these guys got multiple dates out of the socials, and I've been hanging out in our hospitality suites, and the guys trickle in and get a few dates as a result of the work the staff is doing for them, but a lot of them have just kept themselves really busy from the socials. So socials were very productive. So lots of dates, lots of activity going on. Anybody who says that these are just random women coming off the street has never been to an foreign affairs social. That's absolutely true, because the women who are here are women who have been screened, they've received correspondence, they've probably received a few flowers. Remember, there are lots of guys writing letters to these women, but the guys who get on the plane to come and meet them, those are the guys that are, few and far between, unfortunately. But, the women that are here, if they're here for any amount of time, we meet them, we interact with them, we deliver their flowers, their letters, their correspondence. These women have expectations. A lot of guys take that for granted, but they're constantly interacting with us, asking us, where are the men? Where's my guy that you promised I was going to meet? What letters do I have? And there's just lots and lots and lots of activity. And then, of course, when they come to the socials, we've had some experience with them. We know who they are. And it's just really cool to watch our men and our women meet each other.
Oh, absolutely. And then the vetting process is important. But, I'll tell you, when I was in Medellin, and Lorena, the office manager, is there, and she knew every woman at that social. And she knew a lot of, for many of the women, she knew their families as well. And in Latin America, we really don't deal with any affiliates at all, so it's all just our offices and the women coming to our offices, and those matchmakers there know every woman really, really well, and they interview them when they first join, and they really get to know, what they're all about, and if the service is really right for them. And, the service isn't right for every woman. It's not right for every man. And if it's not, then we let them know that. But for the ones that are really looking for that serious relationship, looking for that one person to spend the rest of life with, then that's what we're after, and that's what they're after, and it's a great fit. And that's why we get so many referrals, like you were talking about, Bud, of women who tell their friends about their experiences. Like in Tanya's case, when she went to that social, it was with her friends that she came, and her friends are the ones that got her to come to that social, well, to first register with a foreign affair and then come to the social. And all 5 of those women that were at that table ultimately met and married men from a foreign affair.
Especially in Ukraine. I mean, that women in Ukraine, women in Russia, they network, women in general network really, really well. So if you meet one, she's obviously going to tell her friends, any sisters, anybody in her social circle, colleagues. she's going to tell them about the experience and how cool it was. Our socials are great. We treat the women with a tremendous amount of respect. You know, they don't go home early. They stay throughout. They really enjoy themselves. They're going to tell people about that experience, and you know, word of mouth from the people who are there in our network and our program is where we generate the most interest from a lot of women. I just have to question, honestly, the objectivity and the integrity of anybody who judges these women before he's met them. That makes no sense. They're spectacular, beautiful women. You're going to love the interviews that I have with these ladies.
So, you know, for someone, we had a call last night on the call, which I did for you, by the way. You usually do that Monday night call, but I kind of sat in there and did my best. We had a caller that called in and said that he's brand new to this, just discovered this, and wants to know, you know, how everything worked and whatnot. So you're there right now. You just experienced these two socials. Just really quickly break down how the social actually went. Let's just talk about the one in Kharkov. I mean, what do the guys expect? Because sometimes when we look at the video, you're seeing some dancing and things like that, but that's not really what those socials are about. You know, that might be at the very end when we're trying to get some energy going and get everybody really, you know, the blood moving and everybody interacting a little bit more. But for the 4 or 5 hours of that, the bulk of that social, there's a lot of communication going on. So why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, you know, the comments that a lot of guys have made just at breakfast or when we're hanging out a little bit, I hear the guys saying all the time that they're just amazed at how so many women can be two things: incredibly beautiful and very, very friendly. And that is the predominant comments that I've had from the social here in Kharkov. All the guys are just blown away by how many women, the sheer number of extremely beautiful women that we had at our social, but how incredibly friendly they are, easy to approach, easy to talk to, no cold shoulders, nobody being standoffish. It's just so easy to get to know these ladies. And you can't stand around. There's just no place you can possibly stand around. The women are going to come up to you and get you because they're there to meet you. They're not going to let this opportunity pass by. So, yeah, the dancing happens toward the end when we turn the music up a little bit, maybe in that last half hour. If we bring 250 women to a social and all 20 guys go home with 2 dates, you know, we got an awful lot of women going home at the end of the night with no dates. So it just makes sense at the end of the night to do the right thing for them, which is to give them a little bit of fun and entertainment and let them go. But it was just amazing how many women we had, and just watching the guys interacting with them. You can't move. You can't go from one part of the room to the other without more women coming up to you and talking to you. If you're standing talking to one, as soon as you step away, like Matt did, someone else is going to grab you to say hi. And it's really just amazing. It's Bon Jovi status at all of these socials for these guys.
You know, that's the biggest problem that I think the guys have when they go on one of our tours is they're not used to the attention that they receive on these tours. They're so used to it being the absolute opposite, that when they go here, they feel like they're in bizarro world. They're in bizarro dating world to where all of a sudden, you know, there's a 10-to-1 ratio of women to men, and the women are very interested in meeting them, and it's difficult for them to move around without being, you know, asked to come to a table and maybe someone taking your hand or your arm. You know, did you have any problems with guys hiding in the bathroom on this tour like I've had in the past, where I had to get them out of the bathroom and get them back out there on the floor?
Yeah, I think I was the only one hiding in the bathroom, actually. But unfortunately, in Kharkov, there's a two-way mirror between the ladies' room and the men's room, so you can't even hide in the bathroom. There's just nowhere you can hide. You know,
I remember that one. Yeah, that's cool.
Exactly. I find a lot, come to think of it, I think I forgot to remind the guys about that. What's so interesting is on this tour and in the previous couple of tours, you know, when the guys are meeting the women at the socials, when they're out on those first dates, I'm seeing a lot of contact. I'm seeing a lot of the women initiating holding hands or touching the guy's arm or cuddling up really, really close. We were on the bus tour. There were a few girls on with the guys, and they were cuddling the guy really, really close. And this is the girl actually, you know, initiating that kind of contact and not so much the guy. Because the guy's kind of nervous and not sure how to conduct themselves, but the women are definitely taking the initiative. I remember seeing Matt and Tatiana, one couple that met in Kharkov, on their date that lasted for 6 hours after the social. I saw them in the restaurant that they were dating. They didn't know I was watching them for just a moment, but they were cuddling, they were kissing each other, and this was just a couple of hours after they met. They're still cuddling and kissing each other. They're really something else just to watch. But for guys who are nervous, for guys who are wondering how approachable these women are, man, all you got to do is say hello, and it's got to the point where the women are just going to take the initiative from there.
All right, great. All right, well, but I know it's late over there, so I'm going to let you go. But I want another update here before the end of the tour, and all this video that you're bringing back with you, we will try to get up on the site as soon as possible so you guys can see what this last tour was all about. But I'll tell you guys, you know, when you look at this, when you listen to this, you just got to understand that you're never going to really have a really good understanding what this is about until you go and do it. And once you're there and once you're experiencing it, then you start to get the sense. And I'm sure, Bud, a lot of the guys came up to you and said, I never really thought it would be like this till I got here. And I hear that every time I'm on a tour.
I've got a couple of really good interviews of couples, and as I was sitting next to Matt and Tatiana just an hour ago, and just watching how happy they are together. And I just told the guys on the video, you'll see it. I mean, you can sit there and write letters all day long, right? Come and sit on the sofa next to this beautiful girl. I mean, she leans on him, she touches him, she kisses him, she just adores this guy, and she's gorgeous. She's absolutely a stunning, beautiful woman. So Matt did just fine for this. Probably his fourth or fifth social, actually. Matt's been trying for a little while, so he hung in there and he finally met somebody. So again, guys, you can just sit back there and write letters all day long. A lot of guys do. Or you can come get in the reality and just sit next to that beautiful girl and have her leaning on you and just cuddling you. And there's no replacement for that. So we'll show you a lot of that on these upcoming videos. I'll definitely give you an update as the tour goes on.
All right, sounds great, Bud. Thank you very much.